All right, so we're going live now.
Yeah, got it.
Good. The trophies turn out good. Are the same ones you did before?
Yeah, they're the same ones. Yeah, but they're always like the coolest thing ever. So I'm super excited about those. So I think I've got a couple stops. I've got to run back down to the rag company today. I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't feel like carrying the boxes to my car on Friday. So I've got to go pick up the towels that are going in the bags. And then we just have to check in with Advanced Auto one more time. You know, they're giving cars to all the kids when the kids vote for the kids' toys. So, and they're bringing like one of the big blow up air filters. So we just need to go pick up our stuff from them, and yeah, it's gonna be good. A lot of moving parts and a lot of stuff to put together, for sure. But yeah, it's gonna be so great. I'm so excited. I've gotten in we had about 20 people on our wait list, but we've gotten most of them in. I've just got about 5 people that I'm still trying to figure out how to sneak in. But
would it be bad if I blow the train horn at people on the podcast?
That'd be kind of funny.
I'm behind a Prius right now, and I'm about to get out of the fast lane.
Oh, yeah. I had a Prius last night doing about 100.
Oh my goodness.
He was flying.
Those are the Prius owners that I like.
Yikes.
Man, yeah, that's frustrating.
I think it's okay if you need to use your horn.
Yeah.
I think you have to use your horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, hopefully I don't have to do too many more Bead Maker and coffees while I'm driving, though. I should have just came and stayed the night down there. I didn't think about that, Chris.
Down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have too bad of traffic.
No, I got about an hour and probably 20 minutes, so not bad. I'll be there with plenty of time, but just...
My cat is in major destructive mode today, so I'm sure she'll make several appearances today.
Yeah, we've had some interesting questions popping up on our social media the last couple, like this weekend.
Yeah, which is good.
One question we should talk about, maybe that gentleman will be on, is the difference between Crystal Wash and Iron Buster.
Oh, yeah.
That one we need to answer, but I just haven't answered it.
Okay.
Oh, you got somebody on from Iceland.
Wow. And Bill Quinn is on. Good morning, Bill. Fun. I'll start drinking my coffee sooner so it kicks in. There they go.
At some point when I get down there, Chris, I gotta stop at the gas station. I'm gonna need a 5-hour energy day. Gosh.
I should have you a giant Diet Coke.
I can do that. I'll find one when I get close.
Does a Diet Coke have caffeine in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my coffee.
Ah.
Either that or a Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew. Those are my 3.
So you know what, Chris, when you get here, they have like secret Diet Pepsi at the rag company that I think they're like testing or something, but it's called Mango Diet Pepsi. So it's like the Bead Maker Pepsi. And that sounds so gross. It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was really good.
It's really good. And it's funny because it's totally the Bead Maker.
When I have soda like
Pepsi.
that, it's all over my lips. Like I can taste the sugar.
Yeah.
It bugs me.
Hey, you guys are good. You're live. You're in front of everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Well, good
We
morning.
need a
Welcome
big-
to Bead Maker and Coffee. Sydney, where you at today?
I am in my home office in Boise.
And
I'm
Chris,
not
you
traveling.
are in a
Well,
hotel room?
I'm hiding behind the camera right now, but I'm in a hotel room. And we're getting ready to work on a cool little special project today at the LA County Fire Museum.
And I am on my way to meet Chris at the museum and help with this project. So that's why I am driving in wonderful California traffic. So if you hear my train horn on my truck, you'll know that I'm telling someone they're doing something wrong or to get out of my way.
Someone needs to
So
move.
maybe that'll happen. Well,
Awesome.
Bead Maker and Coffee, this is becoming a normal thing for us. I'm enjoying it. We've had a lot of great feedback, so we appreciate everyone that's been joining us. And we wanted to start off. I'm going to have Sydney tell you what we've been up to with PNS and what we've been up to the last week.
Yeah. So last week, I'm sure some of you guys may have seen on social media, we had a bunch of special guests come to Boise. So we had Kyle and Keith both come from PNS. So that was super fun. And then we had Clint Hintz and Justin Lobato join us from Buff and Shine. So we all went to the Rag Company. So we had an awesome week. We spent the week filming lots of content, short videos, long videos. We did some lists. If you guys are familiar with the Rag Company list, that was a lot of fun. And we just had a good time. It was a very productive week. We got a lot done, and it was great to see everybody. I know for Kyle and Justin, it was both their first kind of trip on an airplane since SEMA of 2019, right? So that was pretty crazy.
Since Mobile Tech of 2020 is the first time I've flown.
Okay, but it was Justin's because he drove to Mobile Tech. So yeah. So that was kind of crazy. So we had a great week. It was a lot of fun. So Kyle, how did you do on your trip to Boise?
You know what? It wasn't bad. I flew out of a small airport here in Southern California, so the whole getting through the gate and all that, no problem. Mm-hmm. Flights, no problem. I don't enjoy wearing a mask at all, and I was able to kind of be creative and figure out the way of loosening my mask up enough that I could breathe a little bit, and it was fine. The flight attendants were great on Alaska Airlines. I had no problem. Came into the little quaint Boise airport, and I could tell I was in a different state because walked off and people were like not wearing masks, and I was like, hallelujah. It was nice to be in a place that was has moved past California, moved forward. Flight home was a little bit. I don't like flying on the little puddle jumpers, the little dash 800s.
Yeah.
I don't fit very well. I pretty much had to have my arms like this the whole flight.
Oh gosh.
It was about an hour and a half to Seattle, and then I got home late Friday night around 10:30. I was back up Saturday morning, taking care of a fleet and ceramic coating a Dodge, or I guess it's not a Dodge anymore, a Ram 1500, like the blackout edition. Really cool, all black truck, black wheels, black emblems. Cool. I used Inspiration Soul. He wanted a 1-year coating. I gave him the options for Inspiration and for Legend, and that was out of his budget, but he wants to do it more often, which is fine. And I did Inspiration on the wheels, though. That came out great. Oh, cool. And I did something I don't do very often. I was going to ask you if you do it. Do you? How often do you ceramic coat door jambs? Because this was a request that I got, and I liked it. It was a lot of fun. I don't do it very often.
Yeah, I get it every now and then. Usually I mean, I would say like on the brand new cars, sometimes folks with like Range Rovers and whatnot, there's certain cars that are just more prone to having really dirty door jams. The one that's sticking in my mind is Range Rovers. For whatever reason, that lower part of their door, stuff goes up underneath it and they just get really dirty. So I've had, some customers with certain types of vehicles that ask for them to be coated, which I've done and it works great. But otherwise, if I'm not ceramic coating them, I usually just use Bead Maker, and that does a great job at kind of, keeping them easy to clean.
Same here. I normally use Bead Maker in there after the coating is cured. I just hit the door jams with Bead Maker. Yeah. But I was kind of contemplating just, bringing the price up just a little bit just for the time.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of tedious.
Yeah, because you got to make sure they're really clean, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the cleaning, and then the like all the hinges and not getting it on the rubber trim. I was trying not to change the look of the rubber.
Yeah.
I would say it probably took 10 minutes per door jam to do the frame and the door. So I was like, maybe I'll raise it up a little and just include it in all my ceramic coating jobs with a coat of Sol. And you know what? When I felt it a couple hours later, when I was opening the door to move it, it was just like buttery, soft, smooth. And I was like, man, I could totally see how people are going to love this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I should do my own and see kind of how big of a difference it makes.
Yeah, you know, your daughter's kind of picky about her door jams, so
a little bit, yeah. A little bit. She's so funny. Well, cool. And then what do we got going on at P&S HQ the last couple weeks?
Well, I think they finished up the training facility, and I believe Prentice has already done our first training out of that facility. Was it 2 weeks ago, a week ago? Yeah. I think it was the day after the last Bead Maker and Coffee on that Tuesday. Right. Yep. Yeah. And it went great. We hosted a 1 day and then a ceramic coating day, right? The next day.
Yep.
So 2 trainings.
Yeah. So that's
we're
awesome. Yeah. And now P&S, they're going a little crazy over there. We've got 2 big events coming up that the team is dividing and conquering. And so everybody back at P&S is just crazy trying to ship everybody out everything they need. So we've got part of the team going to the Southern Detailers Conference. So we've got Keith and Prentice going to Kentucky for that. And that is on June 5th and 6th. And then we've got the rest of the crew, Bob, Dave, Rennie, Chris, Kyle, coming out here to Boise for the Cruise and Hidden Springs show, which is going to be awesome. We can't wait. And so they've been sending stuff to each end of the country. And so that's kind of been keeping everybody busy. And we are really looking forward to those 2 events. So those will happen just prior to the next Bead Maker and Coffee. So make sure that you're following all of our social media, because I'm sure there will be a ton of posts that weekend, and we are excited that is really like everybody's back to events all at one weekend, right?
Yeah.
So we're excited about that.
We'll have a lot of content those few days. I'll go live, or Sydney will go live together at her car show, her event. And it's kind of the kickoff for our Park and Shine program. We've had a couple others doing some, and this is kind of we're setting it off at Sydney's for this Park and Shine that some of our distributors have been already taking advantage of. And basically the Park and Shine is a way P&S can help facilitate a quote unquote cars and coffee type event where you can hang out, talk cars, answer questions about products, and just bring the car community together. And actually it's a perfect time to launch it after not being able to gather for over a year now. So I'm excited for our distributors to start taking advantage of the Park and Shine, get it, P&S. So that was a brilliant. And if you're a distributor or a storefront and you want to host one of those, let's get in contact and kind of explain it. It's kind of ambiguous. It's what you want to make it.
Yeah.
It can be a charged event. It can be a free event. It could be a car club. It can be your whole city. It could be, it could be anything that the distributors and the storefronts want to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we are super looking forward to those two. And then what else, anything else going on? We're just, kind of getting ready for everything for the year, right? It seems like everything's just coming so fast. I know also within the last 2 weeks, we announced the team that will be going to Monterey for Monterey Cars Week, the McCall's Motorworks Revival. So that's another event that we're all going to be gearing up for. Super excited about that. That is the week of August 10th, and that is going to be here before we know it as well.
And we're already starting to talk about SEMA. We have some cool ideas for SEMA, but man, it's going to be here no time after the 4th of July, and then we have the McCall's event, and then SEMA will be here real quick. So
yeah,
it takes a while to get all of our crazy ideas to bring them to life, but that's why we're getting on it now.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been up to. And Kyle, you already talked about one of your details that you worked on. Do you have anything else that you worked on that you want to talk about? Oh gosh, here's the cat. She's going to make an appearance.
I did an RV. Oh, there she is. I did that.
Shaking
the fleet, and then that truck, and then I ran over and washed an RV. At one of my accounts, a brand new RV ready for delivery, and I used Bug Off on the front, and it's bug season. You can tell when an RV gets driven across country for delivery when you spend 45 minutes cleaning bugs off the front grille and bumper and headlights. That it's bug season. So Bug Off is definitely it's that time to use it on every vehicle now, because we will have to ensure that there's no bugs.
Yep. Same here. I've been using Bug Off a lot lately. And actually, we've had a couple questions on our social media about Bug Off. So let me just address some of those real quick. I'm not sure how many of those guys are on, but just because there is a lot of questions coming up about Bug Off. So Bug Off is obviously our bug remover. It's an amazing product. My favorite way to use it is in an IK sprayer, just because I think just the coverage and it makes it easier. But I also noticed that it helps it kind of foam just a little bit, and it, those bubbles seem to help loosen up the bugs a little bit better. One of the most important things about Bug Off is it can be diluted. So I usually use it 1-to-1. And the great part about it is, it doesn't really need to be stronger than that. 1-to-1, it's strong enough for everything. I like to use it with a Jersey bug scrubber. And then the most important tip is do not spray it directly on the windshield. So you can spray it on the paint, doesn't have any, no running effects, no issues there. But on the windshields, if you do spray Bug Off directly on the windshield, you can get like a little white clouding sometimes, depending on the temperature of the glass and just, what kind of glass it is. And so I always spray the Bug Off onto my bug scrubber first, or towel, mitt, whatever you're using. Spray it on there first and then work it into the window. That will work just fine. Now, if you do, because my daughter does this all the time, if you do spray Bug Off directly on the windshield and you get some staining, it is very, very easy to get off. So don't freak out. I will just use Clarity Cream. If you sprayed it on and you already have view coating on your windshield, you can use Envy, takes it off, no problem. But otherwise, Clarity Cream takes it right off, and it's no big deal. And so that's kind of just a tip for windshields that I wanted to put out there for sure, is don't spray it directly on the windshield. You might just be making a little bit more work for yourself.
Yeah, with Bug Off, learn your process, how you like to do it. Doing RVs or semi trucks, I usually do spray it at the window, but I've already pre-rinsed the front and cooled it down, and we go to scrubbing immediately. So what you don't want to do is allow any streaking, any drips to come down. It has to be full saturation of the window. And then we go immediately into. I have a bug scrubber on a pole, and we go to scrubbing right away. And then what I do is when we've scrubbed, we've kept it wet, I leave the bug off on. I don't even rinse it. I go straight to my foamer on top, and then we go to brushing all those areas, and then we rinse. The reason why I do that, and this is a little tip, is I'm trying not to waste water. And if I rinse and then I foam and then I rinse, I'm just wasting a gallon here and there. And water's precious, so I try to be as efficient with my water usage. So that's just a little trick that I use with bug off on these RVs and stuff. But yeah, you want to be careful. Don't spray it on a hot hood or a hot windshield. Cool the temperature of the surface, bring it down. So that's great.
So then, so just so everyone knows, Kyle can't see the questions since he is in his car, so I'm going to read them out loud. So Pristine Auto Detailing asked, how far do you dilute bug off to use on a coated car or coated PPF fronts? So I don't dilute it any more than 1-to-1, just because the coating should be chemical resistant. You should be perfectly safe to be using bug off. It's not strong enough to cause any damage per se to a coated car. The great part about bug off is you can dilute it. I mean, you can dilute it like 4-to-1, right, Kyle? And it still works just fine.
I've diluted it 4-to-1. It works great that way. You're gonna use a little bit more friction. But here's the thing too, on a coated vehicle, these bugs should come off
easy.
Easier. So they're not gonna bond to the paint the same way as a non-coated vehicle. So I mean, if you want to try it at 4-to-1, I think you'll have great results with that. I use the 32 ounce the IK, and I put I would say about 6 ounces in there on most vehicles. Unless it's really bad, then I'll go 1-to-1 because I want to get those bugs off fast and easy. So bug off is highly you can manage your dilution to the what you need. Yeah.
Okay, so Gabriel said, I sprayed some bug off yesterday 1-on-1 on the front of the car, and my headlights did fog. Light you told it would happen on the windshield. Any problem with that? I finished polishing the headlight and couldn't take it off with anything else. Honestly, Gabriel, I'm not really sure. I've not ever had bug off stain a headlight. So my first reaction would be, did your headlights, did they already have a lot of oxidation?
Actually,
Kyle, we're losing you.
I've had bug off take off,
Okay. So anyway, Gabriel, I've not seen that. So one of my questions would be, did you try to use a compound? If you only used polish, I would switch to a compound, but I have not ever had bug off stain a headlight. Do we have you back now, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually bug off will help you clean the headlights if you have light, yellowing, but I haven't had it stain headlights. So I wonder what, make and model and age of that vehicle, because I don't know if we're pre-rinsing or not in this situation, but I always cool everything down and keep everything wet. So you may want to bring your dilution down or bring your dilution up and dilute it a little bit more and see if that's a problem.
Yeah, and that's what makes me wonder is, because like Kyle said, I've used bug off before to clear up headlights, to remove some of that stuff, but I spray it on real heavy and let it eat through that oxidation. So that's why I would step it up to a compound so that you're kind of doing a quasi headlight restoration to get some of that, sun damage oxidation off of the headlight and see if that doesn't correct your issue. Because generally speaking, I've never had bug off stain a headlight. So try that and let us know how that goes. All right, so next, this is a great question. So Mike asked, I have leftover Legend and have a car in now for a 1-year coating. Can I just use 1 layer of Legend to get some practice with Legend? I would say absolutely.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, if you tell your customer, "Hey, I upgraded you," you're going to look like, a champion to them.
A hero. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to look really good. Say, "Hey, you know what? I just upgraded you this time, and just give me a good review online." Because we went the extra mile.
Yeah. And Mike, I do that all the time. I upgrade my customers all the time. And specifically I did it with Legend because I wanted, we were doing, R&D, and we needed kind of to know different levels of paint, qualities of paint. And so quite often I'll upgrade my customers. And so, yeah, absolutely. Just do one layer. If you're worried that you're not going to use the coating within an appropriate time frame, that's a great opportunity to upgrade somebody. And like Kyle said, you're just going to look like a hero in the end. And that's great marketing for you if you look at it that way. So I think that's a great idea. I do that all the time.
I usually use my leftover product for I don't discount my details at all. I'm not a discount person.
Me either.
But I love to upgrade like first responders, military, fire. I come from a family of police officers, and I'm happy to do that, especially if they tell me. But for some reason, I'm one of those that don't like when people ask for discounts. It actually really annoys me. So if I know that they're police, fire, or especially military, because come on, we're in California, cops and firefighters make good money here. But military, it's a different situation, and they have a different sacrifice and how much they make too. So I love taking my leftover coating and just, hey, I went ahead and just coated your wheels. I upgraded you doing your wheels, or upgrading to the next coating up. I've done that many times, and that's what it's perfect for that, because it's not costing you any more material costs. You've already made your money on your material, and you're able to look like the hero and take care of someone who deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, I use that tactic too with view window coating, because it does take a while to go through that bottle, which is awesome. I can usually get at least 10 cars out of one bottle of view. And so I use the view quite often as well to, upgrade for the customer. Rather than giving any discounts, I will do the windshield and let them know that I did it and it was this much of a value, because that is so easy. To put view on a windshield is maybe 10 minutes extra of your time, even with the polishing. So I use view in the same way. I use it as an upgrade. And that way I make sure that, I don't have the bottle sitting around for too long. So yeah,
it's kind of like bargaining chip too. If someone is on the fence of, do I want to put Legend on, or do I want to save some money? Do I want to do this? You can honestly be, you can honestly be like, hey, you do Legend, I'll coat your windshield for you.
Yeah.
And so it helps you make the sale. It's a loss leader, in that way, where it helps you finalize the sale, just like a dealership does, by adding an upgrade.
Yeah. So. And Mike added, and this is a good point. He said he gets to know his client on a personal level before doing the free upgrade. And I agree. I would say that generally speaking, on coating jobs, I know my customers pretty well before they've come in, but I absolutely agree that, I don't do it for everybody. It's not an automatic thing. I think you just get the feel, and if you know your customer and you've done, a good amount of communication with them, you kind of know who's going to appreciate your efforts. So he said, if they rub me the wrong way, I don't put any cheese sauce on the hot dog. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a good way of putting it. Honestly, you know what? Like I said before about discounts, when people come to me and they're like, yes, I want this. Yes, I want this. I trust you. Oh man, I'll go above and beyond 200% all the time when people just let me do my magic. But when people want to nitpick everything, every price, or, I will give them the letter of what I said I will do. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. Just because my customers trust me. And I have so many wonderful customers. I'd rather go work for them. I'd rather go do stuff for my regular customers than have to continually prove myself to new people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I will always upgrade the people who just let me do what I do, but I still want to communicate. I want to know what they want first. So yeah,
Yeah.
having a relationship is important.
Yeah. Yeah. So Gabriel came back in with, thanks for the response. They were previously restored 3 months ago. So back to the headlights, Kyle. A Honda Accord 2012, he wet sanded, compounded them, put a sealant on it. So now I think I see that the issue here is whenever you wet sand a headlight, you have to put some type of more permanent sealant on it versus just like bead maker or something. So if I am wet sanding a headlight, because you're removing the natural clear coat on the headlight that comes from the factory. Once you've removed that, that headlight can go back to cloudy, or, now all the pores of that headlight are open. And so whenever you wet sand a headlight, you always want to use something stronger. There's some guys that will shoot it with 2K clear. I personally just put a coating on. So I'll use Inspiration or Legend. I mean, I just use whatever I kind of have open and laying around, but you always want to put something a little bit more permanent. I realize a coating's not permanent, but it's, you know what I mean? A little bit more permanent than bead maker, but you have to have that kind of layer to protect from things like, bug off. So I think that's part of the problem, was that headlight was kind of left exposed, and it is going to take, soak up whatever is put on it. So you should be fine. Just, you shouldn't need to wet sand again, but yeah, compound with a good pad, polish it out, and then coat it with a coating, whatever you have laying around is going to work just fine.
So P&S has a headlight restoration system. It's a kit with a compound and polish, and actually it's a dry sanding system. And basically you can work your way from as low as 320 all the way up to 3,000. But if you're going to sand and not go to a clear, like Sydney mentioned, like like we used to use white new back in the day, but it's garbage now. Yeah. But you shoot a clear, or there's other companies that make a clear spray. That's where you're putting back like a like new or a like factory UV coating or clear coat. But if you're only going to put a sealant, if you're only going to put a like bead maker on, then you need to actually polish as your final step after the wet sanding. You got to finish the surface, and that's probably what happened, is you just yanked that off and you exposed it again. So go ahead and, like I said, like Sydney said, compound it, polish it, maybe even take it back to 3,000 and give it a light kiss there, polish it out, and then go ahead and upgrade to something stronger. Like I would go with something like a couple layers of Inspiration.
Yep. And that's funny that you say that. It's literally exactly what Nick Vecchio just put up. He said 2 coats of Inspiration, 15 minutes apart on the headlights, and then annual maintenance like a coating is what he does. And that's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I do. And that'll work just fine if you're not in the position to be spraying any kind of clear coat. That's going to do just fine for you. Yeah.
That's what awesome. I would do.
Yeah. And then Mike came back in and said, absolutely agree. Can't wait to see y'all at the SDC in a few weeks. And so Mike, side note, the guys from RoadFS, Rod and Jody, they will be live streaming us from Boise, the rest of the team. I know we've got a big car unveiling that's happening around 10:30 Mountain Time. So I think there would be about 12:30. Is Kentucky Eastern or Central? I think it's Eastern.
It's Eastern.
Okay, so about 12:30. And so Rod and Jody will be doing that big unveil on their screen at their booth. And then they'll also bring those of us that are in Boise, they'll bring us on live several times at SDC. So make sure you check in at the P&S booth so that you can say hi to us live on Zoom like we are now. It's always good. Good times. All right. Any other questions? Did we miss any? If not, I'll bring one up that has come up on social media this weekend that we wanted to address.
Go ahead and bring one up. I think we're good.
Let's talk about the one that we got on Instagram.
Yeah, so we've been asked this question a couple times, and it's a great question. So the question is, what is the difference between Crystal Wash, which was a very popular P&S product in the professional line, and then with the new Iron Buster? Why would one choose one over the other?
Well, My answer to this question, and it may be a little different than yours, is they are two different products. They were both dissolve iron, but using two different types of. One is more of an acid than the other. I can't even remember the name of what Iron Buster is made from. But sorry, 1 second. I got to check my iPad, make sure I'm in the right lane. But they both achieve the same thing. You just get the pretty, the iron removing purple look from Iron Buster. Iron Buster is a newer technology as far as how we use it on paint. It's also versatile for paint and wheels, and Crystal Wash is versatile for paint and wheels. You can do both with Crystal Wash, and they both have great results. So it's a preference. A lot of our long-time P&S users know Crystal Wash really well, and I really like Crystal Wash. But because I love to play with the newest technology all the time, I go to Iron Buster a little bit. But Sydney has found Crystal Wash is amazing on wheels.
Yeah. So a couple different things. So Crystal Wash is probably really going to shine with just regular environmental fallout. So, all the stuff that falls out of the air and lands on the car and makes it kind of sandpapery. Crystal Wash is a great pre-wash prior to cleaning. It's going to remove a lot of that environmental fallout. Iron Buster is more specifically going to attack the iron particles. And that's why it does the whole show on wheels, right? Which is great. But couple things about Iron Buster. Iron Buster is fantastic. But what I have found personally is I'm using it a little too often in my shop because it's making a bit of a mess. So if you are mobile or working from your home or have an area that, you don't want all that white residue around all the time. And this is a me issue, by the way. I don't rinse my floor after I'm done working. So that's totally a me issue, not the product. But Crystal Wash is a great option if you don't need that extra kick of the Iron Buster, because Crystal Wash is clear. If you do Crystal Wash prior to Brake Buster, it's an amazing, amazing wheel cleaner. But I do suggest if you actually have iron particles to use Iron Buster. They're both great products. They work just a little bit different. They're different base. I like to use Crystal Wash before I clay. I mean, I think you just kind of know if you need to use Iron Buster on paint. I just have a feel for what's on the paint, what kind of fallout, what that person typically does. If it's somebody that's up in the mountains a lot, I'm going to be able to get away with just doing Crystal Wash. If it's somebody that works out in an industrial area and there's railroad stuff near, I'm going to use Iron Buster. So I think that goes along with getting to know your customer and getting to know the kind of the daily history of this car to know what product that you need to use. And so for kind of just general maintenance cleaning on wheels, I will go to Crystal Wash over Iron Buster. But then if it's the first time that car's been in my shop and it needs like a legit get this stuff off of here, Iron Buster.
Both of these products are fallout removers from different times. Crystal Wash has been around a long time. It has a form of acid in it that, just like any chemical you put on paint, as a disclaimer, make sure it's cool. Make sure you're not out in direct sunlight where it can flash on the surface. And both will provide great results. Give them both a try and see which one you like. I mean, it's kind of a preference thing. They will both remove fallout and iron, but Iron Buster is driven towards directly for iron. Yeah.
And like I said, if you are mobile, you may want to just have Crystal Wash in your arsenal so that if you are in kind of that tough situation where, and Kyle, you'll know this, if you're in a customer's driveway and you can kind of tell that the driveway could be a problem, just go to Crystal Wash if you need, because what you don't want to do is leave any kind of staining or anything on their driveway. Have you had much trouble with that, Kyle? I do, but I know why. My concrete's bad.
Well, When I work at someone's house, I tend to rinse everything around the vehicle down and away immediately after.
Yeah.
So no, I haven't had that problem. I have had that problem on driveways with, leaving dressings or acids if you're using like a water spot remover. And you don't want that sit on someone's beautiful, $50,000 or $100,000 driveway of bricks, right? So I choose to, be more careful. I'll put down a light layer of water to kind of stop that from happening. But as far as these two products go, I haven't had problems either way. But I kind of rinse things down a little bit. I don't like standing in soap when I'm playing. I like to clean things up.
And that's a good tip is to spray. That's a great tip too, to spray that area down with water before you even start cleaning the wheels, just so it gives the concrete a good base of water before you start working. And that should help a lot.
It's actually a trick I learned years ago doing boats, because I used to use a really nasty acid doing boats. And I learned that if I kind of create it like, it's like Pam, right? Just put down a layer.
I had that problem cleaning a sailboat once. I had to clean all that stuff off the bottom of a sailboat, and it was, same thing. Lots of acid on the ground. So Christine said he's using Iron Buster.
You should see my driveway.
Yeah, my driveway is a wreck. I don't know if you've ever paid attention to it, but it's an absolute wreck. I got to figure out how to get it cleaned up. So Christine says he's using Iron Buster right now, and he plans on going home smelling like it. So you're going to go home smelling like cherries. Right?
My cherries.
It's supposed to. Actually, I mean, Iron Buster is, if that's even a way to say it, it is the best smelling iron remover on the market, in my opinion. Meaning, I guess a better way, but the least offensive rather than the best, right?
Might be
not too bad.
Regurgitated cherry.
Yeah, maybe. Rotten, I don't know, back of the fridge cherries. I don't know. Oh, goodness. So funny.
It smells like
all right,
no matter what, but it just doesn't smell as bad.
Yep. Okay, Kyle, here's a question for you. This is from Chris. Should I dilute bead maker if I'm putting it in an IK multi-sprayer?
I've never diluted bead maker. I would just go straight.
Yeah, neither.
I would always go straight.
Yep. And I use it in an IK multi as well. And I don't dilute it at all. I just spray it on straight. The biggest thing with using bead maker in a multi IK sprayer is I use the fan tip. I know they come with a couple different tips. You want to make sure that the one area I've had problems with the IK and the bead maker is if it's too fine of a spray, you can tend to get some of that freckling because it sets up before you can even get to it with a towel. So I recommend using the fan spray, and then just make sure you're doing, the double towel method and, getting it wiped in real well, and just watching for overspray when using the IK multi. But it's great. I use it all the time. It's a little bit more, you just want to make sure you're getting everything that you've sprayed.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh. All right.
We're, the guys are a little sleepy today, I think.
Yeah, we've got a lot on. They just don't have a lot of questions. Was there any, Kyle, I know you were monitoring questions all weekend. Was there any other ones that you wanted to bring up that were good questions?
You know what? I'm trying to think of, there was one that a gentleman I spoke with yesterday and said this would be a great question for our bead maker and coffee. Invited him to come on. He said he would check it out. What was the question? I can't go on Instagram to look it up while I'm driving, but we've had a lot of questions lately regarding like how to apply bead maker, and for that I would refer you to our YouTube. We have a good video where Rennie, Bob Phillips, Sydney, and I talked about bead maker, and I'll explain how I do it. I like the Eagle 500 orange towels. I like the plush towel, and I like to spray it on the towel and on the paint, especially if it's cooler. I'm in cool area. Obviously not directly on black. And I like to apply it and wipe it off kind of according to the temperature. If it's super hot out, then I'm going to apply and wipe off right away. If it's a little cooler and I can let it sit longer, I want it to sit as long as I can safely. So, and then I just wipe it in with that second dry towel. I have my Bead Maker wet towel and my dry buff down towel. And I know you know, when we were at the Rag Company, and we'll talk about this, Sydney and I did a video talking about our favorite Rag Company towels.
Yeah.
And Sydney and I both like the orange towel, but we like two different types of towels for applying Bead Maker. I'm the plush Eagle 500, and Sydney likes the
FTW, the orange FTW. Love it. Yep. And the difference is that, and that's going to be dependent on your area and your humidity and all of that. You know, Kyle has great luck with the Eagle in California, and here in Idaho, the Eagle tends to create too much static charge between the Bead Maker and the towel. And so for me, I like the twisted loop, you know, low pile. FTW, it's super absorbent and it seems to cut that static barrier. So really that's, I think the number one thing is play around with different towels and see which combo works for you in your area. Because the towel really does make or break how well, you know, Bead Maker reacts for you. You know, if you're in a real humid area, you're going to want something that is maybe more like an Eagle, that's going to be a little bit plusher because you've got a little bit of obviously humidity in the air, which is adding water to it at the same time that you're trying to spread the Bead Maker. So just play with different towels and that, you know, there's a ton of combinations that are going to work great. It just depends on the area.
If you ever run into a problem because of maybe you have some very dry paint and or the paint has multiple other products on it, other sealants or other types of polymers, what I recommend is if you do ever get streaking with Bead Maker, take some you know, clean water, spot-free water, and put it on a towel and just lightly wipe that area, and that'll knock down some of the smudges. I've heard this from other people. I personally haven't had this problem ever with Bead Maker. It's one thing that I can say that I never get streaky smudges. Maybe someone in the past has a bad batch. It got too cold or it got too hot sitting in a van or on shipping. But Bead Maker and this method's always worked out well for us.
Yep.
So what else has people brought up recently on social media? We had
so hold on. We have two. Yeah, hold on. We have two questions though that just popped up, and I don't want to miss them in the chat. So the first one is from Sarah Riles. She says, on the leather treatment conditioner, is it safe to use on leather seats that have the holes for heated and cooled seats? So yes, absolutely. And I'm going to give you what my tip is when I'm doing this. So, and hopefully this makes sense without a visual, but you know how on the seats, generally there's the sides that are obviously a complete piece of leather. So what I'll do is I'll put the leather conditioner on my applicator, and then I do the bolsters of the seat first that don't have holes to kind of work it into my applicator a little bit. And then I go over the holes. So what you don't want to do is put it on the applicator and go straight to the seat where it has the holes, because then you are going to fill up those holes a little bit with, you know, some of the extra product. So I kind of spread it and get my applicator primed before I do that center part with the holes. And then I don't have any problem with it going inside the holes. So I just always kind of rub it on the parts that are solid to get it kind of worked in, and then go back over the part with the holes.
Exactly the way I would have said it. I would never want to just squeeze our leather conditioner, our leather treatment conditioner on the leather. I'd always either wear a rubber glove and put it on, or a glove, or use an applicator of some sort to apply it. You just don't want to go straight with cream, basically, and go plop. Right in the holes. Will it hurt anything? No, when it dries up, it's going to dry up.
Right.
Can you work, if you do get it in those holes, can you work it out? Yeah, you can probably massage it down. It's probably going to go down into the foam that's below those holes.
Yeah.
So it won't
Yeah.
cause a problem. It just
Might
not
look
kosher.
Funny for a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of silly,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great question. And great answer, Sydney, how to circumvent that issue.
Cool. So next question from Chris. Is PNS Iron Buster safe to use on ceramic coated vehicles, and any tips for using it to decontaminate the paint?
Yeah. So usually we find the most iron is on the hood, the roof, and the rear of the vehicle, especially the rear of the vehicle where the air swirls behind.
Yeah.
I find that to be the worst areas.
Yep.
So yes, it's safe to use on ceramic coated vehicles because ceramic coatings are chemical resistant. I would say I would make sure that the paint is nice and cool, and I would even just give it a rinse first. So you're going to have a little bit of water on the surface to kind of dilute it down, just a little. In this situation, since you've already done a correction, you've already ceramic coated it, maybe this is a 6-month or an annual maintenance that you're doing on the vehicle, I would do that, let it sit, let it dwell, and then it's not probably great on the mitt, but I've foamed right on top of iron remover and it just went ahead and started my wash.
Yeah.
And just used it as, the soap kind of helped dilute it down. But it's not going to hurt it unless you do something silly like do it out in direct sunlight,
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't found the need too often to pull out an iron remover on a coated car. Once in a while, like Kyle said, if it's on the back of a vehicle, I've had some trucks and things like that, work trucks that pull trailers. That's a real common one that you need to treat. But generally speaking, my maintenance on ceramic coated vehicles is just clay. For the maintenance portion, I use clay, and that usually takes off any fallout that I've accumulated on that coating in the last year. But yes, it is safe. I just think that for me, it's one of those things that I'm not going to go to that level unless I absolutely have to. Just because, I definitely, it's not going to hurt it, but just to eliminate any kind of issues, I don't do it unless I really think the vehicle needs it. But I definitely wouldn't make it part of my, average care for a ceramic coated vehicle. So since we don't have another one in the chat, Kyle, here was the question that you asked the guy to bring up. And it's a great question. I went and found it. So he said, and I think we get this question all the time, so I definitely want to bring it up. He said, Mike Molina said, I've been trying to find the difference between inspiration and legend.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Perfect.
And it's a great question.
Man, brain fart right there. Yeah. So how I answered it was legend is twice the active ingredient as inspiration. Where inspiration is a 3-year ceramic coating. That is what the warranty would allow up to on that. And I'm sure if you multi-layer it, you can get more out of it because it's actually performing really, really well now that we've had it on cars for that long and longer. Yeah. And legend is a 5-year. I always would recommend multiple layers, whether you do 2 layers of inspiration or a layer of inspiration topped with soul, or a layer of legend with soul, or 2 layers of legend. Remember, don't mix legend and inspiration. They don't play well. Don't know why, but that's what we've learned, so just don't do it. But that's the difference there with legend. But as legend or as inspiration installers, a lot of people are beginning to learn this, but we have detailers that are installers that have the ability to sell a warranty, a actual A1 insurance-backed warranty, for 3 years. Even though it's a 5-year coating, it only can go up to 3 years. So we have that available for our installers and technicians. You can get on that website. There is a program for that, but both coatings are eligible for that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's still definitely a place for inspiration. I still use inspiration almost every day. So, in my area, my customer base, I tend to have a lot of customers that have leased their vehicles. So, selling them on a 5-year coating, they're, like, oh, I don't want to spend that additional amount, this car's just leased or whatever. So inspiration's still going to be a really great, for the customer that doesn't keep their cars a long time. Inspiration's a super solid, really solid coating that is still going to be easy for them to maintain. They're going to get all the benefits. You can top it with Sol whenever you need. And then inspiration also is a really fantastic wheel coating. I absolutely love putting it on wheels, trim, things like that on the exterior chrome, things like all of that. I love inspiration for, and I'm still going to grab that probably over Legend, only because of inspiration. You don't necessarily have to wipe off of plastic trim. Legend you do. So that's just kind of, saves me a step. And it just does such a great job, and it's so easy to put on that, I'm constantly grabbing inspiration and putting it on this or that, or, whatnot. So inspiration is still, one of my major go-tos. I love it. But then also, as far as a long-term coating, Legend is awesome. So still totally a place for both of them. And now we have a whole bunch of questions coming in. So here's the first one. So Jeff said, why Sol is a topper on Legend versus Beadmaker? What makes Sol better? You want to take that one first, Kev? Okay. No, so do you want me to do it, since I have the shop? And this is why I switched to Sol. This is me personally why I switched to Sol. One, Sol is an awesome coating. I absolutely love Sol. But for me, being in a shop, single person, needing to get these cars out of here, using Sol as the topper versus Beadmaker has cut down my appointment time by about 4 hours, which 4 hours in my home shop in my personal garage is a lot. And so it's also going to be a lot longer lasting, right? The Beadmaker is only going to last them a couple months legitimately. Sol is going to give them a full year. So you're going to make it to that maintenance point or beyond with Sol as the topper, and the Sol is just protecting the inspiration, which is doing all the real hard duty work, right, of the coating. So Sol, if you're putting on Beadmaker and you're finished with Legend, you would either be doing 2 coats of Legend if you're going to be using Beadmaker as the topper, right? So that would mean you would be doing Legend, waiting an hour, doing another coat of Legend, waiting 2 hours to put Beadmaker on, and then waiting about 3 hours before you release the vehicle. If you're using topper as on Legend and you only want to do 1 coat of Legend, 45 minutes later putting Sol on, and 45 minutes later the car's ready to go. So it really shortens the time frame of when that car's ready to go. And you're using, it's a lot less time, but you're leaving behind a better top layer. And that's my thing, is you do not need to put Beadmaker on top of Sol. You can do it a week later as, kind of a shine pop, whatever you want. You can definitely use Beadmaker on top of Sol, but you don't need to use it before you release the car, which for me, that was the major game changer.
Things have progressed and things have changed in we only had inspiration. The only product we had to protect inspiration was Beadmaker. But now that we've tested and used other products, we've learned that because there's
we lost them a little bit.
2 layers of inspiration. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just got fuzzy there for a minute.
Oh, so now that we've learned these things, and Sydney and I have tested them, and Rennie, that we've just learned that it's a preference. Just like anything, if you're selling this service, you should be charging accordingly for multiple layers of Legend and multiple layers of Sol, or with Sol, or however you're doing it for your time. So you just got to figure out that preference. But yeah, Beadmaker is getting shown up by Sol a little bit, because I can do it just as fast.
That's what I was going to say too, is I can put on a coat of Sol just as fast, if not faster, than doing, a good heavy coat of bead maker. So just really love Sole. And like I say, you're just leaving behind a much more solid topper than bead maker. And then obviously always maintain that coating with bead maker. It's a fantastic maintenance. But as far as a topper, I'm generally always choosing Sole. No matter if I'm doing Inspiration or Legend, I'm always choosing Sole as my last topper. Okay, so let's see. We've got a couple questions. So, I like this question. What is your fun or unusual way of using your products around the house? I use a lot of them around my house.
And then this one's related.
Okay, what else should I use bead maker for? I have a gallon, probably too much for what I actually need it for. Okay, yes. So, I use all of my products around my house. So obviously the obvious, glass cleaner. The glass cleaner's great. So I like to use the TrueView glass cleaner because there's no ammonia in it. So unlike Windex, it's not going to leave. I feel like Windex, it almost just begs your mirrors and windows to get dirty again. So I like to use the TrueView glass cleaner. I also will use the Express Interior on my leather couches, to wipe down stuff like that, furniture. I obviously use the carpet system on all of my carpet. I have animals, I have kids, they eat on the floor. So I'm constantly grabbing out the carpet system. I use that all the time inside. And then bead maker. So obviously bead maker gets put around my entire house. So on the windows, on the mirrors. So quick tip for bead maker on your bathroom mirrors. If you use it on your bathroom mirrors, you'll get less fogging up, which is nice for those of us that are girls that need to be able to see yourself after you get out of the shower, because that's like one of the biggest frustrations. So I use bead maker on my mirrors. I use it on my sink, on all of my stainless steel appliances. And I know this is a controversial issue, but I use bead maker on my countertops. I have white quartz countertops, and I use it on my countertops. And then the reason that's controversial is people talk about food. I do not cut food directly on my countertops. So that's kind of the things I use it for. How about you, Kyle? Do you use it around the house?
The same. So years ago, we had a flood in our house, and it actually was a blessing because we got to remodel our whole downstairs. And so I have these really nice countertops too. And each one of my countertops has something different on it. So I have a ceramic coating on one, I have bead maker on another, and I have a different brand. I've used it on our stainless steel appliances. But it's funny, I have daughters, and for some reason my daughters have woken up or have had bloody noses. Maybe that's just a little kid. It's not a daughter thing. It's a little kid thing. So they've gotten blood on my nice dark light gray carpets. Finisher is a great product to use to get blood stain out of carpet. If you do it right away, it'll pretty much zap the blood. Then you can go ahead and clean it. Use carpet bomber, brush it, wipe it out with a towel, whatever you want to do. But Finisher is my blood stain remover. Immediately to Finisher. Don't do anything else. Finisher. So I've done that a few times. I would love to try bead maker maybe on the tile floors and see what it do. If it'd be slippery, if it just make it a nice shine, Swiffer it with it.
Don't use it on your shower tile floor.
I don't want to do that. No, don't.
Yeah, you would slip. But your regular tile, you might be okay.
I've used and this is not double black, but I've used our water spot remover in the shower. I've used our water spot remover, all over on the outside windows. And the other thing that I have used is I have leather couches. So I've used our Express to clean them, but then I've used the leather conditioner, leather treatment to and you know what? They didn't really need it, but man, they were they had a whole different life to them after I did it. It was a lot of work. That's a lot of leather to hand apply leather treatment to. But
I cheat and I use natural finish on my couch.
Oh, okay.
I just spray it and wipe it in. One other thing that I did that I just thought about is a couple weeks ago, it was springtime and needed to get the outside cleaned up. And so I soaked my whole barbecue grill. I have a huge, 4-burner stainless steel barbecue grill. I soaked the whole thing in Tempest. It was very dirty. Soaked the whole thing in Tempest and then used my steamer from my shop, got it all clean, got all the grates clean, got all the stainless steel clean. And then I, finished it with Bead Maker, the whole thing. And that's going to help with, environment stuff sticking to it. It made it nice and shiny and slick, and it'll just give us that nice layer of protection so that it's easier to clean next time. So I did do that on my barbecue grill, which was fun. So lots of different ideas. The biggest one also for Bead Maker, because he did specifically ask also, is what else can you use it for? So make sure you're using it on like any, glass doors and showers. You can even use it on the walls if you have like, what's that material that shower walls are made out of? Like the resin walls. You can spray all of that down, tile, whatever you have, you can spray it down with Bead Maker. And that, if you do that every couple weeks, it's just going to make them really easy to clean, because it's going to help all the product and the water just sheet off the walls. So there's lots of different things you can use Bead Maker for. Lots of different things. So next question up, Kyle, is what is the difference between knockoff and breakbuster?
Great question. Knockoff is a higher is a concentrate, and it was developed for our Chemtrol line. So they're both tire and wheel cleaners. But where I use breakbuster straight, I know you can dilute it a little bit, but I pretty much use breakbuster straight. Mm-hmm. Knockoff is meant to be gone through the Chemtrol dilution system and metered and diluted down to more of breakbuster levels, but knockoff and breakbuster are not the same product. Right. So a lot of people have said, "Oh, it's just a more concentrated version." It's not. They're actually
two totally different products. Yeah.
Yeah. So they achieve the same thing, but knockoff is a kind of a more of a degreaser, heavier, cleaner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I found is, so I know one really popular way is people using Iron Buster and then spraying Breakbuster right over it. That is a fantastic, fantastic process. But what I have found lately, just because I have both products, so I mean, here's what I'm going to say is you don't necessarily need both. Try them out, see which one you like, but do you need both? Probably not. Where I have switched is if I'm doing Iron Buster, I use the knockoff over it, but I'm putting it in a bucket versus a spray bottle. So I'm just putting it right into the bucket and then using a brush and going over the Iron Buster with the knockoff. And that for me has been a lot of fun and a very effective wheel cleaning process. But like I say, obviously Breakbuster over Iron Buster, still a winning combo. So then Uni asks, she kind of follows it up, what if they don't have a Chemtrol? You can use any of the Chemtrol products without a Chemtrol. The dilution is on the back. The Chemtrol unit itself just helps with the perfect dilution. It helps with your employees not, wondering if you're overusing product and whatnot. And so the Chemtrol makes it easier, but you don't have to have a Chemtrol. You would just dilute it to the dilution stated on the back of the label.
You're going to have to do a little bit of math. On the back, it helps you figure out your dilutions. And, maybe not so much Chemtrol for knockoff or Tempest, but I run all of my Chemtrol products through my spot-free water. I have spot-free tanks. And I'll tell you what, I think products work so much better when your water is just, has nothing to fight it. So I have zero total dissolved solids in my tank. So getting great water, great products, especially on view. That's where it's the most for TrueView.
Yep. And I like knockoff at a little bit lower dilution. So because I'm using it in the capacity of being a little bit stronger of a wheel cleaner than Breakbuster. So I run it on the heavier cleaning side versus, more diluted. So I think the most common recommendation is like 8 or 10 to 1. And I'm using it about 4 to 1 is where I like it.
I like using it in the foam tip sprayer.
Knockoff does work very well. Yeah, it works very well.
It gives you a little bit of a show like you get with Brake Buster. You get the suds. Because knockoff works a little bit more flat, so you don't get the suds like you do with Brake Buster straight out of a spray bottle.
Yeah. And then Uni asked, is it safe to use on all wheels? I have not found any issues of it being too strong. So I think that it most likely is safe on all wheels. But like with any other wheel cleaner, we say do a test spot. It's hard to blanket that statement and say it's absolutely safe for all wheels. But it is not caustic in any way. Like it's not going to be, it's not an acidic, super acidic wheel cleaner. So I've not had any trouble on any wheels with it.
I would at least be diluting it 4-to-1 if you even were putting it on something that is a satin finished black wheel. And I hate those wheels, period. So no matter what, I mean, you could pour water on them and damage them. So be real careful with satin finish wheels, the black. They're very, there's no clear coat or solid substrate. They kind of are more porous. And they allow anything. I mean, I've heard of people using soap and water and discoloring them. So be careful.
Yep. Okay, so here's a question that I got to run my dog out. She's so funny. She's acting like she's dying. Okay, what do you recommend for leather protection? I understand ceramic for leather makes leather hard and color lock is no more than 3 to 6 months. So how do you feel about leather protection, Kyle?
So I have a different philosophy than coating leather. You can use there are many different leather coatings out there. I am more of the keep it clean, keep it conditioned, keep it out of the sun kind of person. You can see out my windows, but you can't really see in my windows on my truck. I am all about keeping UV rays out of my vehicle to protect them, to protect the leather. So I haven't really liked leather coatings because your butt and your back cause friction. You're going to rub any coating off of the main surface pretty quickly. Where it does have a benefit is down in the stitching. Say you spill something on your leather, that stitching is waterproof because you coated it. It allows you to wipe it off and it's not going to seep down, get into the actual cushioning. But
and I totally agree. I don't
have the perfect answer for coating leather because I've never really been a believer of like an actual leather coating. Now I have coated vinyl, which is different, like on boats, and I there's a benefit there because it's out in the sun, it's getting sunscreen on it. The environment is much more harsh. But I haven't done a lot of leather.
Yeah, I haven't found a coating that I truly feel like is a whole lot different than just a leather conditioner. I'm kind of the same as Kyle. I believe in just keeping it clean and keeping it conditioned is really all that leather needs per se. And what I find is from the coatings, they still even say that they're only going to get 3 to 6 months of coverage. And with a conditioner, they're going to get about the same amount. So I'm kind of old school when it comes to leather. I'm not sure how I feel about totally sealing off the pores of leather because I have to wonder if it's going to make them crack more. So I like them to be flexible and conditioned. And so that's just kind of my philosophy. It's one of those things where I have not found the perfect ceramic coating for a leather yet. So not to say that someday it's not going to be made, it very well could. I just haven't found one that has made me want to switch to ceramic versus keeping them conditioned.
We have had people use inspiration fabric coating on leather and it will work. But I've done it. I've applied it with an applicator. Someone was adamant that they wanted their leather coated. And so I did it, but I did, preference that saying, I don't believe it's going to last as long as any other product is saying. This is why friction, moisture, those types of things. And that's what they wanted. So I provided it to the customer, but, it's going to be up to you.
Yep. All right, let's see. We've got, this one is another good one for you, Kyle. So Luis says, I work on trailers and boats a lot on the ones that I buff and polish to take heavy oxidation off. Would a ceramic coating work? Ceramic coating actually hold the shine, and would it spot later, meaning would the oxidation come back slowly once a ceramic coating has been applied?
So yeah, I've done a lot of boats in my day and a lot of RVs, and they are actually two different substrates now. RVs are not like boats anymore. They're not made like a boat like they used to back in the day. You can't wet sand them with this new fiberglass backed plastic that they have. But so say we'll take a boat. If you have a boat that is super oxidized and you go through the buffing and polishing process and you want to coat it, coating is going to look good and last and provide protection for a season, maybe longer, depending on how the customer takes care of it. Because if they're going to stick it on the side of their house and let it just sit there and oxidize, then they're wasting their money with all that beautiful work you did, but it's just not going to hold up. Now, if they're keeping it inside a garage or a storage unit, then it's going to look a lot better. I'm going to pull in this parking lot because I'm already here, Chris. And I'm going to go in the gas station when we're done and get you a soda and me a rain. But but if you're expecting long-term results, I would say resurface the boat, meaning I would at least go around the boat with like 2000 grit, knock down all the buildup, the dead oxidation, go ahead and buff it, polish it. Make sure you strip off any oils, then coat it. You're going to get a longer lasting surface. But it's kind of like, I tell people boats and RVs or any oxidation is like skin cancer. Once you get it, you can never do what you did before. You can't just go out in the sun unprotected. It will always come back if you don't take good care of yourself. And I have had friends that have had skin cancer and had, when they go outside now, and I do it too, I put zinc on my nose and on my ears. I haven't had skin cancer yet, luckily, but same thing with boats. The sun is the enemy to all of our surfaces, and the coatings on boats and RVs are not going to stop a oxidation problem. They will just slow it down.
Yep. All right. So here's a great question from Gary. Good morning. Is it safe to use Bead Maker over a premium Carnauba wax? So here's the deal. I have found that sometimes Bead Maker does not go over wax. It's really going to depend on which one. So for the instance, like Colonite, Bead Maker goes great over Colonite. But the true most beneficial to your paint way to apply that would be the Bead Maker first. You always want the strongest product closest to the paint. So you would really want to do Bead Maker first. But yes, I have seen Bead Maker used over Carnauba waxes, but there is some that it doesn't play well with, just because Carnauba wax, and Kyle was really good at speaking to the melting point of Carnauba. And so I always think that's going to cause a little bit of an issue, and you're not really going to get the perfect result that you're wanting or longevity out of either product. So Kyle, you explain the melting point.
So we have a couple different types of, I guess, forms of Carnauba. You have the cream Carnauba, which they have to use different products to make it into a cream. And then you have the more pure form, which is in a tub, right? They have to get it in this little metal tin. And what they do is they melt it and it goes in 100%. Years ago, I ordered 100% Brazilian Carnauba. It came in little tiny flakes. That's how they get it. They beat it out of the palm trees, and it's like, and they melt it out, and it's these flakes. So depending on your area, Carnauba is like melts at like 170 to like 180 degrees in that area. I've heard people say even lower, but I want to say it's a little bit more resilient. But on a black vehicle, your engine heat, the sun heat, say it's even 80 degrees outside, your paint's already above 160 degrees.
Right.
And so Carnauba fails at a certain point because it begins to melt. It'll evaporate. And so that's why I like our hybrid protection, our longer lasting sealants, because they have a higher boiling point. I've used products in the past that have had a boiling point of like 450 degrees Fahrenheit and down to like negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And Bead Maker is in that family. Now, I don't know if it's that high. Maybe it's 200, maybe it's 300. We'll have to ask Dave. But because of its chemical makeup, it has a higher boiling point than carnauba wax. So they're not going to play well because you're going to be topping something that is not going to last. The other thing is, that's when I talked about streaking or smudges. Most colors, you'll probably be fine. On black or dark colors, blue, dark green. It may leave some smudges because it's not wanting to bond. If you have that problem, I would probably advise using paint prep to prepare the surface, remove your waxes, and then go ahead and use Bead Maker just like you would a coating. The better the bond, the better the protection, the longer it'll last. So, Bead Maker works great on all surfaces. I mean, I don't think it really is going to bond to rubber very long, but I mean, plastic, paint, powder coating, glass, trim, all sorts of, I've used it on dashboards and, but I don't recommend mixing. It'd be like spraying Bead Maker on top of a tire dressing. It's not going to do much.
Yep. So you can try it, but play around with it. But I'm going to say most generally the carnauba waxes are not going to work out. But I do know over colonite it's actually really nice. So do we have anything else? Are we all wrapping up for today? I know you guys got a big project to get to.
Yeah, I think this is it. This was a good one. A lot of good questions. We'd love to get more questions from you. And on our Facebook, our Instagram. So go over there and like and follow us. We'll be putting this up on Facebook. So if you have more questions for the future, comment. And we're going to do it like the Rag Company does, Sydney. Stay tuned for more videos from and Bead Maker and Coffee from PNS Detail Products. I got it down.
Yep. And everybody make sure you watch our social media over the next 2 weeks. And then the next Bead Maker and Coffee will be the Monday following the big weekend. So,
and we're going to try and have a special guest coming up in the next, maybe next Bead Maker and Coffee. I'd love to get Dave on.
For sure.
And I may not be available that day because I will be in an area without.
Oh, you will. Yeah. Maybe we'll see if Dave can do it with me then. Yeah. That'll be good.
That'd be
awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Everybody have an awesome week and we will see you soon.
See you later. Have a good day.